like a glass display over in a different part of the room, and he goes, "You could place it in that for me, and it will mean that I don't need to spend time making notes of what this looks like when I start to check this out. But is there anything else you want to tell me that you found, or how you became in possession of this before?"
I look over at Adrian. Anything you want to add?
We were doing a job and we found it in the corner when we finished the job.
It's like, where was the job?
The job was a little deep into the forest. And I point towards the nearest wall, not having any orientation of which way we like turned.
He's like, yes. And he kind of looks.
It's in the forest, as he points out to sea.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And he goes,
He knows.
Or the forest of shrimp.
And
The kelp forest.
If it helps you, we were hunting rabbits.
Rabbits? There hasn't been rabbits on this island.
Well, there you go. We were, and we had rabbits.
And when we found the rabbits we were hunting, there was this box with them, this magnificent chest.
And does anyone else know of this chest?
Yes.
And he looks really
walking around with it.
He looks really stunned. Like, who else have you told about this chest?
We haven't told anyone of the chest.
But you just said other people know of this chest.
Yes.
Well, I haven't exactly been hiding. It is quite big.
He's like, he goes, yes, of course.
So it is quite the riddle for you, but we haven't told anyone about the chest, but people know of the chest.
I couldn't just magic it into a bag of holding. I haven't got one of those.
And each
you would trap the
chuckles.
sea into that.
He goes, yes, okay. And you see this when you say that, there's this big sigh of relief coming from Theodore. He's like, whew, okay. But he's not like, you can tell there's a relief that less people know of this. He's like, where will you be in 2 days? How will I come in contact with you in a few days to tell you of my findings?
We will contact you in 2 days.
Okay.
If you need me today, I'll be in the Slippery Nipple later on.
Sorry, I just find that name hilarious.
He's my magnificent chest.
He gives you a wink. He's like, yes, okay. He's like, so, all right. He's like, so are you leaving it with him or not? He's never. You implied.
No, it's my chest.
He's like, okay. He's like, so if you're not going to leave that with me, he goes off to another part of the room and he opens up a drawer and he takes out these sheets of parchment.
Can I roll sleight of hand while he turns around to open the chest and take one of the ritualistic amulets or like necklaces out and just put it on the table without saying anything? Hopefully,
if Adran doesn't
interfere with me opening the box.
Yeah, I'm going to interfere.
Okay, then you can roll. Yeah. Look.
Let's see. That was an 18 plus 4, so that's 22.
Where did you roll?
Sneaky dwarf.
I rolled 22.
Frozen? No,
I don't think so.
Neither do I. Sorry, I was looking at a different screen. That's right. So you rolled 22. Piece piss. When you also notice that Theodore takes out these long, like, scrolls of papers. He picks up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scrolls and you leave it on the table, yeah. So sorry, when he comes back, he notices this on the table. He's like, "Oh, where did this come from? Let's see. What were you trying to get a necklace?"
Yeah,
yeah, easily. It is a necklace for the god. Let me check my notes. It's so nice being able to bring these up without crashing the stream.
Just dragging out Phoenix would be fun.
Well, I was going to say Phoenix because that's the one that came up first, but it wasn't that. Nylea, the god of hunt, Nilea.
Nylea.
That's the
Yes.
one. And he looks at it and he goes, "Ooh, where
And it's a
it was
goddess.
this?" She goes, "That's a very, very nice relic you have there." Sorry, I'm trying to think of words. He says, "That's a very nice relic you have there. Do you also want information on this?"
Yeah.
No,
It's like,
but
no.
I would
I
like
don't
to
know
ask.
who it is. It's pretty.
Hmm?
I don't know who it is, but it's pretty. What is it?
You do
Looks
know.
nice.
You're trained in history. You know it's the god of thing. I said to you last week.
How much can I get for it?
He's
He
like,
doesn't know I'm trained in history. How much can I get for it?
he goes, he looks at you, he's like, this is a place of worship. This is not a place of money, wealth. You do notice looking around that like they are clearly wealthy bastards, right?
Well, they're worshipping my chest, but god damn it, how much is this worth?
He's like, it's like it is quite precious metals. It's got gems and jewels in it. And he's like, you might get 50, 75 gold. I don't know. I am no merchant jeweler.
Where's the appraiser in this town?
Like, well, maybe in the jewelers. This is the temple.
Ah, whereabouts is the jeweler? With the artisan?
Theodore, are
Maybe.
you sure you don't want to own or have in your possession a necklace of Nilea?
Sorry, did you say that? Did you say that to Theodore or did you say that to
Yeah.
Aslan? He's like, well, it's like we have, and he kind of just pushes away some of it, like picks up some of his tabard sort of thing. He goes like, I have jewels, and he like pulls out this like silver chain, and with like,
Shows me his jewels.
and then he pulls down his trousers, and he pulls out this chain. It's not like it's got the symbol of the god of harvest, that the name has just left my head. Because he says like, which is what, and he says I'll be wearing this all week because this is the thing. It's like, I do not need your symbols. You can keep your own symbols.
What if I told you that this symbol came from the chest?
Well, did it come from the chest?
Yes. Does that change anything?
And he looks around the chest and goes, he looks at the chest. Sorry, he can't see my face. He looks at the chest. He looks back at the jewel. He looks at the chest, and let me double check where position it's in. Oh, Joe, it's useful not having the closing down the picture. It's on the front. He goes, was that the prettiest thing inside the chest?
It might have been.
He goes, I will take note of this. And he's kind of just ignoring it now. He doesn't really care for the thing because it just looks like a really ornate, like, it's one of the nicest religious symbols. Like, it's got jewels in it and gems in it. And hearing it's worth 75 gold for like the equivalent of like a Catholic cross is a lot of money. And when he goes, do you mind if I take a drawing of this chest? While he has like these 5 scrolls in his hand, or like puts a few of them on the table. He has one in his hand. He's like, do you mind if I take a drawing?
How quickly can you draw?
And he chuckles, and so he goes to he said, can you please remove your hands from the chest? And he puts the scroll above the top and says some words. The wizard understands roughly what they are, but like doesn't really understand them fully. And you see this like power or like force move through his veins onto the paper, and the perfect representation of the top of the chest is now in the paper. And he scrolls up that chest and he puts it down to the side, and he takes up the next one and he puts it to the front of the chest, and he does this for all 5 sides of the chest.
What god allows you to have those powers?
He chuckles.
Abracadabra. Digital photographia.
It's the god of canon.
I was going to say Kodak.
That's what I was thinking of. Damn it. Yeah, no, it's there's a, I can't remember what the name of this spell is in D&D, but there is a spell that's literally just like message or
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. It was more if I wanted to hear his excuse for knowing magic, having magic, kind
The
of thing.
clerics can have magic, and they used
Well,
to be
I
scribes.
know, but they all have
Okay.
different stories.
He goes. It is per. Oh Jesus Christ! Peronus, Perphos, which is the god of forge and knowledge. And he goes. He gave this to me as I was. Wait, what? Theodore was a elf, wasn't he? Yes,
I think
sorry.
they were, yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't a dragonborn or a dwarf, which makes sense to be a blacksmith. I was about to say, he is the god. I should have picked the god of description. That would have been way better. But he's like he taught me how to forge things in my mind, and when we worked together in my early studies, I read upon this book that taught me how to craft anything in my mind's eye, and I've been using it ever since. It saves me a lot of time in scribing down the words and the stories that the gods tell us in this temple. And
A man who can't do a job properly. All right.
he looks at you and goes, if this isn't done properly, why is it so perfect? And he shows you, like, literally, you couldn't have you couldn't tell the difference between the described picture that he's done through magic and the chest.
Sure, you can do it by magic, but it's not proper. You haven't used your own hands for it.
And he goes, where do you think this?
True craftsmanship.
He looks somewhat bewildered, and he's like, we have many scrolls and scribes to or scrolls to scribe in this temple. We try to teach and give knowledge to the rest of the world, and especially the city of Imistrail. If we were to write everything by hand, we would never get anything done. We'd never be able to pass on this knowledge to others. It is not just our job to worship the gods and to help people worship. It is also our job to teach and give knowledge. And he kind of looks. You look around, like, you're in a massive room that has, like, bookshelves upon bookshelves of different scrolls.
Adrian, should we show him? And I leave, like, the rest out. Just like, yeah.
Are we showing him?
Should we?
He's seen my chest already.
Well, he's not seen everything.
Who's slipping down their
We can
trousers
open the
first?
chest.
Adrian, the choice is yours.
Would you like to see what's in the box, Mr. Wizard?
I am a religious man. I am not a wizard. But
Mr. Priest.
And he kind of looks. He's like, if this is what I think it is, I would not like it opened in this place. But what did you find inside?
I think we should open it.
And he goes, please don't. Not in this place.
Well, there was a few more amulets apart from this one.
He's like, well, I presume all of the symbols inside were the symbols on the box.
Adrian,
I can't remember.
Adrian, let's take a look just to be sure that there were one of each.
He's tormenting him.
He is bewildered of.
I haven't still gotten my
listening.
wine, so yeah, like, of course I'm torturing him.
That's true. They had, like, barely a minute has passed, so your wine hasn't arrived yet.
Nope.
Trained in persuasion. Persuade him to look in the chest.
He doesn't want to open it. If you want to open it, you just can open it. You try to force him to open it. This is the chest you're looking for.
I open the chest and, like, turn it towards him, so that he can see what's inside it.
Let me double check what's inside. He sees 7 more religious symbols. I presume Adran isn't stopping him.
No, I'll hold my chest open and
when he sees
see inside.
When he sees the 2 gems, his drops. I was gonna say draw dops, but that's not a word. His draw.
Take him to the doctors about that one. I hear there's a good necromancer who can fix it up.
His jaw drops, And he goes, "Oh my god, it is what I believe." And he runs to go get a scroll. He brings it down and he goes, "You aren't from this place, are you?"
I would like to believe we are.
He opens up. He opens the scroll, and it talks about the harvest gems. And the harvest gems are 16, 12. He says, "These are the gems. These gems. These aren't really gems. These are seeds. These can be the seeds of any fortune or any wealth." Or and he's like, he's reading this scroll again, and it's written in Latin. I presume neither of you have Latin learnt off, or it's not Dwarven, but it's a Celtic sort of language of some kind. And he reads a bit, and then he speaks back to you, and he goes, "This is and he thinks like, yes, the harvest festival's in 3. Oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. You need to plant if I am right, and if you are actually not from this place, if you want to get back, you need to plant these in 3 different. Wait, there's only 2. This parchment talks of 3. He goes, well, you might find the 3rd. These have been used to get the favor from the gods. You need to plant one of these in the place in which you found, or the same area in which you found this chest. The other one will need to be given." And he reads his book again. He's like, and he keeps reading. He keeps like muttering the sea god, which is the name of.
Which would be Thessa.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
And he's like, Thessa. And he's like, maybe the mermaids. Maybe you need to go and find the mermaids. And and he's like, where would they be? Where would they be? Look, their festival is in a few months. You should have time, but you definitely need to have this planted, and you need to give this to the god of harvest, which how do you pronounce his name? Karmata? The god of harvest. Karametra, that's the one. I need to learn how to pronounce that. You need to sacrifice this to her, and he hands you a parchment, and he goes, This has the ritual you need to do. You need to go in deep into the forest on the night of the harvest festival, which is in 5 days, as you know. And he's like, but be wary. Many creatures and many trials await when you plant this in the ground. What you see is not real. It may feel real. It might feel real. It might to you it might seem real, but it is not. You have to remember that. You need to finish these trials if you ever want to get back. There might be clues. There might be plans. You might be told lies, but you need to discern what you believe from what you were told from him or her. It's a her. Yes, it is a her. And she will guide you to the right path.
Can we bury it before harvest?
So the ritual is you must bring it there and have it planted before sunset on that night.
Before? That means I can go do it now.
Well, on the day. So if you want the full read of the description, it basically says you could bring it to the ground, plant it in the ground. There's some magic words you need to say, and you need to water it with. You need to water it with the blood of, or the nectar of honey, and the blood of the sacrifice, which he explains could be used, but he doesn't know what the sacrifice may or may not be. It's not fully written, and he goes, I don't need to read my parchments to know this was the box of Pandora. You have opened up a world in which, if it's not set right, will end the world in which we all know. You're going to have to try and, if you need to get back to where you came. And he says this is the year blah X, which you know to be roughly 200 years before the time you know.
Where's the third location?
Well,
There were one at the Origin, then there were one at Thessa, but
yeah, well, he didn't. He said there might be a third gem, but he does not know because he hasn't seen the third gem.
yeah, he hasn't seen the third gem. But shouldn't the parchment say where the third should be?
Well, he says it could be one of.
We find the third. Where do we bury it?
Well, the first one, and it says is the color of orange. So that's the one he says that should be planted there. But he says the pink is to be given to Thessa, which might be with the mermaids, which he is not sure where they are. And he says the third could be one of a few. He would need to know if it is red. It could be I was gonna say Thanos. Just get the names. Where's I need to have this as like a quick piece of paper. He says if it's red, it could be Iros or Iros, which is the god of victory, the one who was the king followed during the Long War. If it's it also could be the god. If it's a maroon color, it could be Ibros, the god of death, which means you might need to find a way into the underworld. He says I would need to check, but this orange one is definitely that, and the pink, yeah, the pink one may be or should be the god of this, or Thessa or Thessia.
Thessa.
Yeah, and that could be with the mermaids, but he would have to see what happens with the first. But if you do not put back this box together, the world will end as we know it.
It's the end of the world.
Doesn't sound too bad, does it?
Well, you don't know this world,
I
so
can't sell them.
he's like, no, you mustn't. If this goes into the hands or the hands of those who want this could end in a situation where, or that could be the end of the world, and they could be our rulers. They could summon forth the power of any god if they knew what they were doing. But they would need to find all three in order to do that. Why there is only two here doesn't it is odd to me.
Well, thank you.
He's like, take this with you. I don't want this in my place.
Oh, so
Multiple
now you
colours
don't want to
for the
keep it?
third.
Okay.
Well, now that I have been right, no. Now that my suspicions have been proven.
Okay. Well, thank
Why
you for
are
your
there
time.
multiple options for the third?
He says,
Hmm?
pardon?
Doesn't it say what the third should be, not what color it might be?
Well, he says what it should be and what it is are two different. Like, there is different colors for all the different gods, not knowing which, but
Well, how would you know what to make a sacrifice unless it tells them what to do?
But he
You
says,
know,
like,
there was a pink one, and the pink one goes to the mermaids.
he says the gods have never been honest or truthful or easy to communicate with from these parchments. And he says that there is three there is three gems that shall be given to the gods in their possession, and the sacrifice will be made for each of them. By doing so, will either bring back peace to the world and the world as you know it, or it'll bring doom and desperation to all. With that who sacrificed it will be the ruler of all. So it doesn't state which is which.
So if we sacrifice the wrong gem to the wrong god, we get to rule the world?
No, if you know how to sacrifice it for your own doing, which I will not speak of. I will not allow any such man, woman, or being to rule at their own will with the power of the gods. That is not for them to do, nor shall it be the way. He starts to get a bit aggressive, by the way. He starts to get, with you two talking about like taking the power for yourselves. He doesn't seem very happy.
Well, no, of course not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to do it for myself, but I just wanted to make sure that if we do make a mistake, it's not that bad. But yeah,
it's like what? It's like no. You just follow the instructions as told by each god. And he says, "I'm sorry, I can't be more help. I came to this place knowing that it was a very important. I came to this island knowing that it was a place of worship for those for many years for